Hi, my name is Norm Welsh. I wrote the book Christ-Centered Healing of Trauma, Healing a Broken Heart. The idea for this book came from my struggles with PTSD. I was a police officer for over 26 years where I endured some traumatic events. I was diagnosed with a neuromuscular disease that led to over 30 surgeries on my feet in 10 years, and that led to an opioid addiction. Later, I was diagnosed with PTSD and depression. And then the last straw came from my daughter was diagnosed with a serious illness with a poor prognosis. I went to a downward spiral that was fueled by my negative emotions, and I couldn't get out of it. Trauma profoundly changes your worldview, which affects your behavior. After a failed suicide attempt, I made some poor decisions that led me to a prison sentence. But God placed several people in my life at that time that not only introduced me to the gospel, but showed me God's will to heal. And God started moving in my life. He healed my daughter. It was a miracle. And provided me peace and security, even in prison. And while I was in prison, I obtained a master's degree in theology with an emphasis on counseling. And I went and moved forward and got a doctorate in Christian counseling. And then at the end, I got my certificate for a drug and alcohol counseling. I currently work at a men's residential treatment center as a counselor and a pastoral care provider. Using God's principles that are outlined in the Bible, God healed me of my PTSD. But this book was written for first responders. But the more I counsel people, the more I realize that we all have suffered from a traumatic event or an overwhelming life event, and we are all broken. So this book is for everyone. God created us with emotions for a reason. Just as when there is a physical injury to the body sends a signal of pain to that area that tells us something is wrong and needs to be dealt with. Our negative emotions are a warning sign that something is wrong within our spirit and it needs to be dealt with. Emotional pain is an indication that we are out of sync with God and that we need to realign ourselves with Him. Trauma wounds the heart. And since God created our heart, He is the only one that can heal it. Christ-centered healing is a discipline of self-examination, confession, repentance, and prayer that promotes healing. In the self-examination process, we attempt to determine the initial wound. And once that root cause is determined, we can identify our response to that trauma. It's not the traumatic event that keeps us in pain. It's our sinful response to that event that keeps us oppressed and in pain. Unrepentant sin causes havoc in our lives. It's a war within our spirit, and it causes these negative emotions to come out. Unrepentant sin causes loss of fellowship with God, and it blocks our healing. And in order to begin healing, we must return to fellowship with the Father. When we understand who God is and who He says we are, our healing begins. My book details each of these steps in the process. I know this book will be a blessing to you as you experience God's wonderful healing like I have. You can order a copy right here on this page with the link below. God bless. Bye.